Hey everyone, I'm going to talk you through replacing a window track assembly and window motor in a 1994 Toyota Supra. I want to apologize ahead of time. Some of the videos when I started filming were actually vertical instead of horizontal. So every once in a while you're going to get a video clip that's flipped the wrong way, and I know that's not that fun to look at on YouTube, so apologies for that. But most of the steps going through, they are filmed the right way, and you should be able to see everything you need. Alright, this is a window track assembly for a 94 Toyota Supra. The bottom is the part that has these two here. The top goes into the top of the door here. Pretty common problem on these is the car ages. This plastic piece here has a little clip in it where the wire runs through. I'm going to flip this over. Usually something along this track mechanism breaks, either here, or down in there. When that happens, this cable that's nice and tight here and winds into the middle breaks, and then when your window motor runs, it runs all the cable back into here and jams it. So this is the track assembly without the motor on it. To mount it onto the motor, you have to take the old one out of the car and take the motor off of it. That's just 2 bolts. That's pretty easy. And then this is a cover here. This cover slides out, and where this old piece comes off from the old track assembly, the motor fits right around this. So I'll show you one all put together already. But you have to be very careful because the cable is wound up in here. And when you cut this, you can start to slide this off. You can actually take it off, but you need to keep some tension on here, because if any of the cables unwind, it'll be really hard to get back together if you can at all, because if you see down in there, that's where the cables wind on both sides around this thing. You see the cables crossing over here, so it wouldn't be fun to try and put that back together. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the assembled driver's side. The one I was showing you a minute ago was the passenger side. And the little casing that I was just showing you is actually under here. There are on this thing, on the other side actually, there's 2 screws, and then there's that plastic piece again. So you end up moving this, sliding this one down into the middle. It only goes on one way. You kind of have to rotate the piece that's under here so that the square inside here, the square hole here, there's a square peg on that round piece that has the cable wound around it, and you just have to turn that slightly until it pushes in. So you push that in, and then you attach these two, and your old motor will be back on and working. A lot of the time the motor still works, and it's just this cable that's broken. So I'm going to film some steps here as we go along and put it back in the car. So to put it in, you actually have to kind of go in. The way I took it out, at least, is to take the top side in on an angle behind here and up into the door, and then the bottom side will come through into the door. And when you do that, the two pegs on the top will come out here, and they get little nuts, and on the bottom it's going to come out somewhere down in here. Correction on the last part. The easiest way to get this in, this is the top. The bottom's actually sitting right here. I slid the bottom in first with the motor connected to it. Once I push that in, the bottom's going to drop into here, and I'll be able to push the top up into these 2 holes. And this motor is going to slide over to 1, 2, 3 right there. Okay, so we've got these mounted in. These are 10mm right here. It's a 10. All 3 of these are a 10. Let me make sure I'm showing everything. So the top, they're 10mm. The motor, 1, 2, 3, is 10mm. The power for the motor connects here. This thing is interesting. You kind of turn that on there. This whole piece is one piece. With this, it screws it in place. This is a funky clip that if you put pressure on the front of it, it slides it out. I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to be tightened yet, so we're going to look at that. Now that this is in, we should be able to put this panel back on, which goes there, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 is underneath, and the door handle ends up mounting here, I think. First we gotta put the glass back in. So there's one thing I forgot. I'm gonna edit this into the video so you guys don't have the same problem I did. This needs to go right onto the motor here. The door handle actually mounts right to the motor. So 1, 2, 3. These line up like this. This reuses the 2 bolts. I have to go dig up what the other bolt is for here. So I'll let you know on that. But once that's in place there, then this swings right over on top of it. So that goes there. Okay, another thing I forgot to mention, there is a bolt that goes right here. This is another 10 millimeter flat bottom. And then you'll see that on this, you can see back there, there's a little orange pad. Well, that orange pad are the same as these. So these take this kind of screw, and I think this is a 10 millimeter head. I'll check in a sec. And this is the same type that's in here, and these 3 and a few other places. Let me check. It might be 10 millimeter, and that is, it's a 10 millimeter also. Found it in here now, which it was before. You can hear the car running. Now was a great time to test this. I connected the power, and the track is in, and then just connected the window switch here, which is right back there. And by doing that, before I go any further and mount anything back on here, I can make sure the window is working. And everything appears to be looking good. So I'm gonna keep going with this. Piece of advice is leave it somewhere in the middle here, because 1, 2, 3, and the bump stops for the piece of glass all need to be mounted. So you want them all to be in these area where you can actually get tools in there. Okay, here we have the window. This is what has to go back on that track now. It's probably really hard to see. We come right down up here. There's one hole. These 3 are pretty obvious. That's where it gets mounted to the track. And on the side, there's another hole right here. So what I have in my hand, it's a window bump stop. These are going to go in the 2 holes on the side. This blue part facing in towards the driver, this facing out towards the outside of the door. And it's going to end up going through that hole and kind of going on like that. So I'm going to unscrew this. The piece on the left, there's 2. There's a washer, and this piece, they're both going on the outside. And then that and the actual stop goes on the inside. Okay, a few things to point out. I showed you the bump stops a minute ago. Do not put them on the glass until you get the glass in the car. They would go here, but I'll show you why. If you look down through here, that little black piece there, and the same, it's hard to see, but on the other side of the window there, prevent the window from going in. So it's easiest to do this with 2 people. You may be able to do it by yourself. You kind of have to slide the glass in. The glass is the full width, so go from there all the way to here. Slide it in, have somebody hold it for you, and try and line these parts up. It's a lot easier putting it in than taking it out. Taking it out, the thing, when this breaks, it falls all the way to the bottom, and it stays down there. And then you kind of have to hold it up or kind of get down in there. With this, have your bolts ready to go. These are the ones that actually mount to the window. The 1, 2, 3 right here. These are 12 mil. So if you have your wrench ready to go, have somebody holding it, just screw them hand tight and then tighten it on up. And then go ahead and put your bump stops. 1, 2, and I'll take another picture of that when we get there. Okay, here's what it looks like with the bump stops on. It's really easy to put on. Just hold the back on like this. Screw that in there. These are 10 millimeter. 1, 2, with the window at about this height. Bottom of the window is here. and comes down under for that, and then here it's really easy to work on anything. So if you need to set yours up, they kind of come from the factory when you buy the replacement part almost in this position. I changed it just a little bit when I was testing it, so that'll make it really easy to work on. Alright, so this is attached again. What it is, it's 4 of these. It's a 10mm head hex, and then also screw. These seem to start to strip pretty easy. I took them off with the screwdriver. I think I'd recommend probably using your ratchet wrench with these and the 10mm. Just seems to be a little better. It went on nice and easy, and it would come off the same way. Alright, after this bracket, where the door handle mounts to, went on, that's when it's time to put your plastic layer back around. So I took mine off and was able to save it by being careful. It's stuck. I cleaned it up with Dawn around the edges. I cleaned the door panel up with Dawn around the edges because it eats grease. It cleans up grease, but it actually made it so this didn't stick quite as well. I got it pretty dry, but Dawn naturally kind of eats at oils, so maybe that's not a good idea. Just wipe it down with water, or don't wipe it down at all. But you should be able to just wipe it down with water. Just dry it very carefully. So press that all the way around the edge again. Put it on. And notice there's where the speaker goes. You can see the window glass and the bump stop right behind it. What else? So you still have to put the handle on, as I mentioned, and the piece that holds the cup holder, which is kind of right there on this door. You'll notice if you get up close, there's holes in the plastic there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And there might be a couple more. There's one here for the speaker, one there for the speaker, and one there for the speaker. So that's kind of what you have left. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1. So I have 9 left. That's exactly right. That's where they're going to be going. So let me just back up and get this out of the way here. Let me show you what you're looking at. Okay, so we have a few more things in the car now. See, this is back on. 1, 2, 3. And that holds on. And this is where the door panel is going to sit with the armrest. The actual handle to open the door from the inside. See, these two are routed through there top to bottom. There's 1, 2, 3. With these, I'd say use a screwdriver. Anytime you're dealing with plastic that's getting screwed into metal, as you can kind of see right there, the plastic starts to split a little bit. If you use a ratchet wrench, you can get a lot more pressure on it. So be careful with that. This is the speaker. If you have a 94 Supra or any Gen 4 Supra, it probably won't look like this from the inside. This is a stock speaker enclosure here. It's been modified. Not, you know, it's just something that's meant to be hidden in the door. This used to be a 4-inch speaker in here, and now we have 6s. So we went from you know, something small in the door to a little bigger, a little more oomph. Custom bracket made, so don't worry about this if you don't see that inside of your door. But that again was 1, 2, 3 mounting points. If you have the stock one, you might have other connections down in here. I chose not to have them anymore because they weren't really necessary for what I was doing. This little brown plug here, that goes right back in there, and then you get your power to your speaker from that connection right there. So one really important thing here. Every car is going to have one of these on this car. It's right here. This is the window track adjustment. There's a screw in the middle to tighten things down. This, when the pressure is off of it, will loosen. And this adjusts your window. So what you do is you loosen this middle one up a little bit and then turn this dial. And what that does behind this, you can kind of see the lights reflecting. There's, this is where the window track here comes out into the door. So the more you tighten that, the more it pulls the window track towards the screen here and towards the inside of the door, which makes the window go straight up and down some more. More slack with it out almost all the way here. The window is, let's see if I can demonstrate this. It's more of an angle this way. If you tighten that dial up, it's going to bring the bottom in and it's going to do this to the window, and the window will come up here. And then when you shut the door, it won't line up. It'll be out here instead. Now I've played around with this a little bit and it's almost in the right spot. So when I shut the door, it clears here. You have to be really careful. You go and slam your door the first time with this thing not aligned, you're going to put all the pressure on your windshield hitting right here on the trim, which will send the shock all the way back down into that track that you just replaced. Eventually, over time, that's one of the things that causes the plastic pieces in it to break. So don't put too much pressure on that. You want the door to be able to shut nice and easy. We're most of the way there now. This is just sitting on here right now. You should have a few things left, being the cover, which goes in there. All the assembly pieces fit around the edges, and the, where is it? The one screw that's going to go in here and hook into where I was talking about earlier right there. To get this on, you kind of just lift it up over the edge. There's a little lip down in here. What I did was I aligned this side first. You see right there, there's that slit. This is the door panel and that's the rest of the door. I put that corner in first and the whole rest of the way over to here slid in place, and then I just pressed down. Okay, we're working on the 3 inside the door now. The 2 top and bottom, and 1, 2. You kind of see that down in there. It's this screw, and it gets one of these caps on it. You can tell it's got a little lip right for that cap there. All right, and there you have it. Door's back on. All along the edges here, there's little clips, and underneath as well. So make sure you get all those. Get the screw right down in there. The cap here on top of the screw that hook this whole thing together, and then a few more under there. And then double check all your controls, even though you should have done that a little earlier too, just to be sure, and you should be good to go. Thanks.